Hi, hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Today, I want to touch on this news, right, from Bloomberg that says basically Bitcoin adoption is ghost, basically discrediting Bitcoin's use case, right? And why I want to argue against this argument, right? Now, there are also the main reason why I want to show that, right? They are much more hidden, very important use cases that we need to highlight, against this. Firstly, what is Bloomberg saying? Bloomberg is actually quoting chain analysis saying that, the use case, which means the use case of Bitcoin being a real currency, that means a medium of payments and store of value is actually non-existent. Mostly, they're arguing that most of the time, people are just hodling. That means they're just, using it for speculative purpose and nothing else, right? Although it is notable that a lot of merchants are already starting to accept Bitcoin, but that is still very new, right? Including Whole Food, including a lot of Amazon and all that, right? Including Ohio accepting it for taxation purpose. The usage is still very, very low compared to the mainstream. But this is, remember, still a very new technology. The other thing I want to highlight is that, right, actually, a lot of the use case may be hidden. And this is just one example of it. What is this is that in China, because of the very extreme very tight constraints on capital outflow, that despite the law stating everyone has a limit of, they can transfer out 50,000 USD worth of yuan out for their personal use, right, by individuals. The government, the banks actually are, they are even tightening this ratio. It is not even this in practice. What is this is actually a very credible people named Yu Yongding, right? And he's a former advisor to the People's Bank of China. He actually wanted to transfer about $20,000 worth of USD just out of the country for his own personal users, right? And he go through a bank, and his request is basically being rejected, although he has the money, and the reason is because he's too old. And this news came from South China Morning Post. It's a very, very credible news, right? And also quoting a very credible source, right, who is a former advisor to the People's Bank of China. Now, this shows that, right, and this is an extreme case, but it just shows that despite the official ban that everyone is allowed to transfer $50,000 out of the country at any one time, right, each year, but then to do that, he cannot even transfer 20,000. This shows that in reality, in practice, actually the banking system are really, really trying to tighten down even further. They really don't want to have the outflow of their yuan out. Why? It's because of the trade war. They really want to protect their yuan value. They really don't want it to slide below the key psychological level of $7, right? 7 yuan to the USD, right? So that's the thing. And the thing is then, given this kind of extreme capital controls, right, that even tighter than what is official ban, how do Chinese people who really want to transfer money out for legit purpose, how do they do it? Of course, they will have to look for creative alternatives, and naturally cryptocurrency Bitcoin will be one of those very credible source, right? And the way they do it, I believe, is definitely through very peer-to-peer ways, right? They do not have to report to anyone, right? And peer-to-peer, it just shows that it's transaction going out. It doesn't have to show it's to any businesses or merchants. It can be just addresses to addresses, and then you have no way of knowing whether it is for business transfers or not, right? And all this will not be captured in chain analysis. That's the one I want to highlight, right? That Bloomberg having such articles, right, is really just in my opinion, is really just spreading a fear, right, of trying to discredit the real use case of Bitcoin, right? They're basically saying, oh no, everyone is just holding it for speculative purpose. So in the end, it will just ultimately burst because it is a useless asset class, right? A useless piece of instrument. That's what basically they are implying, yeah? And in addition to that, right, we have in Forbes just yesterday itself as well, there was an article on how the super uber rich are actually buying up Bitcoin, right? And they specifically said previously an art dealer called Dadiani Syndicate, right, which is the art dealer, this lady here, Elisa Dadiani. What she does is she operated in fine art dealership, which means she has a lot of contacts in the very uber rich people who want to buy and sell arts, right? And for some time earlier in the previous years, she has accepted Bitcoin as one of the payment. But what happened then is, by accident, her clients are actually asking her to be the broker to basically source and buying and selling of Bitcoin. And here specifically, you can look at this link and you can read up for yourself, right? Here basically she had a quote. She actually said that one of her clients actually approached them and asked them to buy up to 25% of all Bitcoin currently available, right? Of course, there's a lot of Bitcoin, and in today's value, it is going to be worth $38 billion. Now, who has that kind of money? Obviously, it could be a family officers operate for a group of super rich, family officers, right? Or super wealthy families they work together to employ this kind of services, right? But of course, the condition is that they have to buy in drips and drops in a very secretive manner so as not to affect the price, because they want to make sure they buy at a low price, right? Because to execute this kind of order, you're talking about 4.5 million units of Bitcoin. That really will actually jack up the price if you use exchanges or even over the counter, right? So what they're trying to do is really using their network, right? Because the Diani syndicate, given their background in fine arts, right, dealership, they have a lot of contacts, and these are definitely very, very, very rich contacts, right, that they can just link up people. So it's a peer-to-peer exchange, right, where there's a willing buyer, there's a willing seller, and then they just link up, and of course they take a cut in between by brokering these kind of deals, right? But this is how the uber rich buy Bitcoin, right? And all this of course will not be appearing until suddenly someone we know, right, that addresses is seeing the transfer, but that is already happening. But this is already, we know now how the rich actually does it, yeah? And this is supported by another news saying Grayscale, because they have a Bitcoin fund, right? They actually, again, their fees is very high because they charge a premium. And who are their clients? Is because the clients are, again, the super rich, the hedge funds, and family offices or even institutions. They are basically, each month, they are buying up 21% of newly mined Bitcoin, yeah? So this is the numbers, and Grayscale is very, very transparent because they bought more than 11,000 units of Bitcoin in April 2019, and it's estimated that there are 54,000 units of Bitcoin being mined per month. So that just, divide the two numbers, you get 21%. So all these rich people are gobbling up Bitcoin, right? So, and this is very, very quietly. You only know of these kind of things after this happened. So again, for people out there who do not yet have Bitcoin, right? And really, I it's also my personal opinion that the retail FOMO, that means when the retail are really, really courageous enough to buy into Bitcoin, is really when the Bitcoin is, soaring above the 10,000 level, perhaps even 15,000. That's when every one of the retail people will then buy into it. But that time, probably it is super hard to even get 1 unit of Bitcoin, or even half a Bitcoin. It is going to be very, very hard now, right? But whereas now, is even at today's prices, right, when prices are tumbling, it is still much more affordable than, if you look into like the previous peak of 20,000. And of course, for people who truly believe this, right, we are not looking into the 5-figure mark. We are looking really at a long-term target of 6-figure at least, right, per Bitcoin. So that's why I just want to highlight, right, just this kind of news, I just want to highlight really the key news, right? And among others is, of course, the, China tightening their capital outflows beyond what is even published. And of course, how the rich people really go and buy Bitcoin, that is really through brokers, right? And you have basically one party, and I believe they're acting for a group of their rich friends, because talking about $38 billion is a lot of money, yeah? And of course, you have then already that, Grayscale, but who are their main buyers is, again, hedge fund. So all this, right, is just proof to you that people are buying, right? It's just a matter of time when the real use cases actually happen. And in fact, they may already happen, but it's because it's peer-to-peer transfers. No one really know it is to the businesses, right? But they could be very well using it to pay for legit services already, right? Yeah, so that's what I have for today. I just want again to just highlight to you, right? There are some very mainstream news that doesn't highlight all this key information that I am highlighting. So again, just if you're hearing this, if you are watching this, please pass this message around, right? So if you like this, please have a like, please subscribe, and I will speak to you tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the best.